it was fun and exciting. I was 22 years old. He was the number one athlete of the world, so it was exciting.
After yet another car crash, Tiger Woods will be hoping his bad luck has finally run out. But just a month after his lucky escape, The Sun can reveal his former mistress is penning a tell-all book about her affair with the sporting superstar.
I met Tiger Woods in Las Vegas 15, 16 years ago. I was doing a charitable organization for the Las Vegas Angels, and I met him at a nightclub. He was just there hanging out. We were having a big after party, and we ended up joining parties, and then I saw him on a weekly basis.
The married sportsman would visit Jamie in Las Vegas, where his trainer was based. Every 2 weeks, she'd jet out to California to visit him there.
He would fly me out. He was usually the one to pick me up. So at the terminal, he would pick me up in his black Escalade.
Tiger had married Swedish model Elin Nordgren in 2004, but Jamie says she was unaware of the union until the truth was delivered straight to the front door of his Los Angeles mansion.
He was in the shower and someone knocked on the door. I went upstairs, answered it. And if I'm going to sign for something, I'm going to see what I'm signing for. And I opened up the envelope, and the first thing I saw was their wedding picture. So I went back downstairs, waited for him to get out of the shower, and I asked him, I said, is there anything that you want to tell me? And of course, he looked a little bit shocked. He said, not really. There's not really, I don't know what you're meaning. And I said, you're married. Nonchalantly, he said, yeah, I'm married. So he didn't make it as to be a big deal. Knowing that today, I would never in a million years do that to somebody. But at that time, I guess you try to convince yourself that it's okay and it's real, but it's not real. And
despite his unfaithfulness, Jamie admits she was deeply in love with the golf pro. Was there a time when you thought that you might marry him one day?
I'm sure that thought crossed my mind, being young and starstruck and all that, but I'm a dreamer, so I'm sure it crossed my mind at some point.
During their 1.5-year-long relationship, Jamie says they shared many intimate moments, and in 2006 she was privy to Tiger's heartache at the death of his father and idol, Earl Woods.
To be with him when his father passed, that was a sad situation, and I think even though they were expecting it because he'd been sick for a while, it's still a shock. And people, like I said, grieve in their own ways. His way was just being quiet, and you could tell a little piece of him was missing.
Following his loss, their relationship went downhill, and 3 months later, they parted ways.
I'd just gotten out of a bad relationship when I first met him, and I was still living with the person. And he knew that things between him and I were pretty bad. And it bothered him when him and I were together, but there was no way that I could move out on my own. I wasn't financially stable for that. So I mentioned to him one time about helping me move out. I didn't say, buy me a house, give me $1 million. It was more or less, since you love me and you care about me, will you please help me move out? And I know you don't like where I'm at. And his response was, I'm sorry, I can't. And that to me was that was enough. I'd already been thinking about ending it just because it was never going to go any further than what it had. I told him, I said, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. And I hung up the phone. He called me back about 10 minutes later. And I assumed maybe he was willing to change his mind, but he wasn't. So by that point, that was all I needed. I guess that was like the closure. That was the final say so. So I ended up hanging up with him, and I changed my phone number, and I've never talked to him since.
In 2009, Woods' squeaky clean public image was shattered as revelations about his extramarital affairs surfaced in the press.
I was unfaithful. I had affairs. I cheated. What I did is not acceptable, and I am the only person to blame.
His very public fall from grace forced Jamie into the global spotlight too. Finding the attention difficult to cope with, her life spiraled out of control.
I didn't really know how to handle all of it. It was all new for me. So I knew to numb myself, or that was the only way I thought that I could cope with it. I decided to try to numb myself, and it just created more of a problem and almost killed myself. I got into heroin and meth. I did pretty much everything. I drank, I got a DUI. I was arrested probably 6 to 8 times, put on corrections. The next warning would have been, or the next time in trouble, I would have been to prison. And by that point, I was done with it. And it took one more arrest from Dog the Bounty Hunter in 2018 for me to finally realize that I was not invisible and that I really did need to change my life. So At the moment when he finally got me, I was tired of running and tired of doing what I was doing. Like it was a relief more than anything. Like I knew that at that point that I needed to change my life, and I was going to be going to several different jails in the process to get my life back on track, but I knew I had to start somewhere, and that was just the beginning of my recovery.
Now, 2 years clean and in a happy relationship, Jamie holds no grudge towards her famous ex, and she's certain Tiger can and will bounce back from his latest bout of bad luck.
He's a strong-willed person. I do remember that, so he can get through it and get back. I'm not saying that he'll be number one again, but if he could walk and teach his kids the same thing, like just keep pushing forward, that's the most important thing.